Hello and welcome to Phoenix Vision. I am here with a very special person, Nina Dąbrowska. Thank you so much for coming on, Nina.
Thank you.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. So, Nina has gone into a deep study of arts and crafts, and I've seen some of her creations. They are absolutely beautiful, like really, really talented. And she's also gone on quite a deep study of the Mayan cosmology through her travels with the Mayans. And actually, we recently had a really beautiful time with the Mayans, Nina and her partner Tommy coming to visit us in the UK, and it was just such a beautiful facilitation that you guys gave. So yeah, like welcome to the podcast, Nina.
Yeah, thank you very much for invitation.
Oh, it's a real
Very
pleasure.
happy.
Awesome. So today we the main topic of the podcast we're going to open up the Cancerian archetype, which for me, like, I really love this energy. This is like the nurturing energy, the mother energy, and yeah, I really love this sign, and been getting asking people from each sign to come on during the time of that sign to talk about that sign. So we'd love to open up the Cancerian archetype today. But first, I'd just love to ask a little bit about your journey and what brought you into studying arts and crafts. What brought you into working with the Mayans in the really intimate way that you do.
Well, yeah, actually, with arts and crafts, I've been doing it from the beginning. Like my family is like there are a lot of artists. My mother is a painter, and my grandmother, she's now she's 95, but she's like all her life offered her time to create many different techniques, clay work, like many different interests. So I guess I was inspired, and like actually all my childhood I was like I grew up with paints all around, with canvas, so it was very natural for me to just take that path. And yeah, and with Mayans, I was like in school. There never were like many information given, so it was like interesting for me, like what is it, like it was intriguing for me, like what's going on, why there is so little info. So I started to just be intrigued and to dig in a bit more, and then I met Tommy and I met Mayans after. And yeah, generally it was like step by step, just getting interested into also that kind of world of naguals and energies of that part of the world. Traveling to jungle, many years traveling to jungle, like hard for me to count, but it's actually my story of mine started in 2015. And then that was the time I met Tata Pedro Cruz, leader of Tzutuhil tribe. And that was a really lucky thing for me to meet him. That's what's also interesting, that he's Cancer too. So that's he's a very interesting example also of astrological Cancer. We can talk about it.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. It's like I was really lucky to have spent some time with Tata Pedro as well. Not obviously you, not as extensively as you have, but he just had this just such warm, just loving energy. Like he was like for me just like love personified in a being. It was just like, yeah, really beautiful. Yeah, I would. It would be great to talk about Tata Padra in terms of respect to cancer, but I'd love to ask. Well, it's a bit of a nightmare question, but would you be able to kind of like talk about like the essence of the Mayan cosmovision? I know this is like is very deep and extensive topic, but you know,
Yeah.
you mentioned about the Nawals and yeah, like what could you say about the Mayan culture and the Mayan cosmovision, please, Nina?
Well, I think nowadays there are very much into unification of wisdom, and uh, they started to be more open for worlds, and yeah, they are ones of the like they are like opening. It's like not many Mayans are opening nowadays to the world, and they did it, which was quite brave. Mainly, Tata Pedro was like the main guide that took this step toward the world, and he started to travel and share the wisdom. And his the next generation are like going after his steps, following him after his passage. And yeah, mostly I see it like it goes toward the unification of wisdom, of tradition, sharing their sacred fire and the essence of healing in their sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I have in mind for now, but
yeah, no, thank you, and you know, I feel really blessed and lucky to be one of the recipients of the sharing of their knowledge, and the recent the recent trip with them, teaching us about the Mayan calendar, teaching us about cacao, and I, I'm just like very grateful to Mayan lineage for opening this knowledge to us, and sharing their medicines, because it's doing so much good. Like my God, like all of their medicines and medicine of the cacao, getting people connected with themselves, connected with their hearts once again, and yeah, they're very powerful. I think every time I've spent time with them, like the things have shifted, things have radically changed in the weeks after. As we were talking about it just before the call. So yeah, very beautiful people, and yeah, it must be so fantastic just to be so immersed with being with them so often as you are. You must like learn so much from them.
yeah, their medicine is really beautiful, with the herbs, with the copal incense, with the flowers, with their Mayan ceremonies, very full of aroma, of beautiful prayers, and cacao, obviously. And they have really beautiful medicine for the world to share.
Fantastic, fantastic. So love to move towards Cancerian archetype. So we're in the season of Cancer at the moment. I was really glad for this season, because Gemini season was just like, it was intense. Like, oh, I found myself being so quick. So yeah, what could you say as a general overview of the Cancerian archetype? So maybe the different qualities, and maybe how you feel it, being a Cancerian yourself.
Yeah, as a Cancer, what could I say about Cancer objectively? um, yeah, they are for sure very caring of those Cancer I know, very sensitive, very social, very friendly. I perceive them very kind people. Mm, definitely a lot. They like to just a second. They yeah, as you said about the mother archetype, there this is feelable, like that women, Cancer women, are very caring, and for their surrounding and close ones, very familiar people for me. Yeah.
And how about, so we mentioned Tata Pedro being a Cancerian before he passed as well. So like, yeah, how could you maybe like talk about cancer through the lens of Tata Pedro?
Yeah, like he was very familiar person, very family oriented. Um, very like it was very visible that family is his priority. And when we were traveling with him, he was very missing a lot his home, and we tried our best to make him as the best, so he feels like home as we could. And yeah, very sensitive person. I perceive him like very um, he could sense many things. And also like that kind of person that was able to fight for his rights in a way that for his family, for his tradition, just really be to work toward sharing his legacy, his heritage, and his knowledge. That's how I perceived him. Very caring person, full of wisdom.
Yeah, he had just had this ability just to light up the room. I remember when he would play his song, Muy feliz, and
Felicidad, felicidad,
that,
happiness, happiness. Yeah, he could create that atmosphere of family, and everywhere he went, like he was like awakening, like this feeling of like familiar love, like feeling of a community, creating big family.
mm, mm, lovely, nice. And Cancerian is Cancer is a water sign as well. So I'd love to ask question about how the Cancer perceives emotions because but I'm a water sign myself, not Cancer, but one of the other ones, and I know that I perceive emotions in a very specific way, being Scorpio, and then I understand that Pisces also can perceive emotions very deeply, but also in a slightly different way. So yeah, I'd be really interested to ask, like, how I know Cancerians are very sensitive, as all the water signs are, but like, how does the Cancerian perceive emotions, and how might that be different to the other two water signs?
Yeah, mm, yeah. Cancers also, I think they tend to be emotional or very sensitive toward things. In Also in a kind of, I perceive, familiar way, like a family. The family is very important to them, and feeling at home, from what I know. But yeah, what I'm thinking about as a water sign, well, because I'm a kind of, from my example, I'm like very watery person. Like I'm like a Cancer with main aspects of Pisces and Scorpio. So like I have like mixture of it. So it depends what kind. Every person have a different aspects. There are Cancers that have aspects that are much closer to Saturn. So they have different like expression. So also very much depends on the aspects. So like it's maybe for me much easier to say on a specific examples.
Yeah. So you're a psychic basically. Grand sign. Yeah, cool. So I think of an example. Would you say that the Cancerian is like very aware of what's happening with others from the respect of like nurturing? So
They're
say
very nurturing.
like very aware of like family dynamics and very aware of how best to nurture someone, perhaps.
Yeah, and I guess they are very like there is some emotional intelligence there that they can. I feel like they can read easily, like others people, emotional states. Like this is that kind of people that can cheer you up or support you in your state. That's what I perceive.
Yeah. So yeah, you want to be looked after. Talk to Cancer.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what would you consider to be quote unquote like the highest expressions of cancer? So like cancer at its best. And then we'll maybe delve into what are some of the shadow qualities.
Hmm. The best things, I think, in Cancer. Mm, yeah, like a beautiful mother archetype that can have like a really high expression of motherhood, of taking care of others, um, and for if not children, then pets, plants, um, friends, people around them. They tend to create like an atmosphere of family, and like with their close ones, you like usually they like to give you like if someone is really close to them, they can feed, they can nurture that person really well, take care, I feel. um Another really nice thing is they tend to be really kind and um like friendly. They can be friendly and like intuitive. Mm, yeah, in a good way, sensitive, that they can feel the situation well. And maybe in the from the more shadow perspective, they might get overprotective of for their children, for example, oversensitive maybe. I heard that they tend to be capricious. It's like to have everything comfortable in the home, and they're picky about food and what do they have, and they like to have it in their like things in their own way. What more? Yeah, maybe like over fighting for something if it takes them personally. If something is very personal for them, they might be exactly like overprotective or like putting borders. That's how I perceive it.
Cool, cool, cool. I was just thinking like pretty much every Cancerian I know, they've got like really nice home. They're like it's like so important for them to create that place for them. And it's interesting to actually like think of like the archetype of the crab itself. The crab carries its home everywhere around it. It's always at home
Yeah.
within its shell, kind of thing. And yeah, I think it's quite an interesting parallel to draw with the kind of the protection that the shell offers and the ability to kind of like come into the shell. Um, so yeah, what yeah, I've also heard that can maybe you can confirm this because I've not actually asked too many Cancerians about this, but on occasion can get a little bit crabby.
Crabby, what do you mean?
Maybe a little bit grumpy or a little bit,
When one's getting in the mood of,
yeah,
of capriciousness or something like that, maybe. Like depends, like, but in the moody thing, I think it's possible. Crabby. Yeah, they sometimes also tend to be like one step forward, one step backward, like the crabs going on the sides. like they're moving like forward, backwards, so they might be not so direct,
Mhm.
but they like to go around sometimes. But that can be an advantage, but that can be also a disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, I think through learning astrology, I've had a real deep appreciation how like everything is double-edged sword. You know, something can work in our benefit one day, and another day might not be in our benefit.
Yeah, it's the same with Mayan cosmology, with the Naguales. There are also like those two sides. The and like with zodiacal signs, there are always like different kind of qualities person can express.
Yeah, yeah. I just find it so fascinating to have all of these really powerful archetypes, which I don't know so much about Mayan cosmovision at the moment, but um, you know, it feels to me as though it's like 20 really powerful archetypes that are another way of understanding the human psyche and subconscious. And it's wider than that, though, obviously, because it's, you know, those 20 Nawals encompass like pretty much all of life as well, right?
Yeah, they often say that we actually have it all in a because they say like Mayans say the Mayan calendar like it's like a human body. So like we have all those archetypes inside of us in a way, but there are some that are more dominant.
Yeah, cool, cool. Yeah, I can't wait to learn more about the Mayan cosmovision. So, would would you say for the Nawals, there's like the light and shadow expression of them in a similar way of looking at the other archetypes?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Mm. Cool, cool, cool. I'd love to ask a little bit about the moon because like
Mm-hmm.
Cancerians are ruled by the moon. So moon, feminine archetype. Um, Really interestingly, there's like this other kind of correlation with the crab and tides because the
Mm-hmm.
you know drawing the tides in and out, and it's interesting that you know the crab lives in this environment that's you know probably one of the you know one of the most prominent environments that the moon affects on the planet in terms of the coastal regions. So yeah, what could you say about Cancer and its link to the moon, Nina?
Yeah. Um, yeah, moon that is connected with cycles. Yeah. Um, with also feminine cycles like menstruation. There is some connection. Um, or with blood pressure, of course. So, yeah, there are some cycles. So, as a Cancer, I think like it's really good to, I could say that it's really good to observe the moon and observe the cycles and what kind of like atmosphere and what is happening during the full moon or the new moon, how things are flowing. I guess it can influence a lot our life, and yeah, um, so it's like it's good to follow the waves. I go with the flow, of course, but sometimes the waves get a bit stronger, like on the full moon, for example, tend to be a bit stronger. And I think like it's like with emotions, and sometimes it's good to just observe it before following the wave, to observe what is mine, what is not mine, with the things that are happening inside, with processes that the moon can also affect our states a bit more. So I guess it's really good to observe that before like impulse acting with it. Yeah, that's what I see, what I can say.
Yeah, sure thing. I've been learning this. I've got the moon in Aries, so I have to stop going on the impulse a lot of the time. This is like a really good practice. And like with so much water in your chart, as well as being a Cancerian, I'm guessing you must feel the moon's pull or the moon's influence like quite a lot, like probably a lot more than a lot of other people might. Could you comment on that at all? Like because you know I've since doing a lot of work on myself in the last few years, I've seemed to have become more sensitive on the full moon, like not like super duper, very sensitive, but it definitely affects my sleep a lot these days
Hmm.
before. So yeah, how do you feel the moon? Do you feel it like quite strongly in your observation compared to other people, perhaps?
Yeah, especially the full moon, I feel strongly. It's like this kind of time when I perceive that is a lot is happening around, and often like a crab, I actually like to just go a bit back, step back, and hide in my cave because sometimes it's very getting really intense. And in the new moon, I feel very relaxed. I feel very I get creative, and uh, in the full moon it's like I get creative, but I feel it's like sometimes it's so intense sometimes that I just like to be with myself
Mm,
and
mm,
create.
mm. Nice, nice. Yeah, feels like a good time to do it using the energy. I like full moons because of the tension it creates. This tension of opposites because it's always in this opposition, and that tension is can be difficult to be with, but at the same time also has kind of like an electricity to it, I guess, because of the polarity.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, I want to ask, like, how do you feel we can maybe harness the power of the moon to help us maybe with our emotional processes?
Yeah, actually, like I said, like with the observation and like inner observation, to just be able to recognize what is really coming from me and what is an influence, outer influence. So that's definitely main thing, to just look at some waves that are just flowing, and that might help. Um, but if it's like really strong, going really something like process is getting really strong, I think it's in that kind of thing. I think like it's really great to just affirm inside that and become your own friend, you
Mm,
know. Just if you hear in your head or emotions like some inner talk that like of judgment and criticizing and so on, is just to stay your own friend. that that's what that's what I think that I could say.
mm. I really like that. I really like that because so often in life, our harshest critics are ourselves, and I. For me personally, I'm a lot more my friend these days than I used to be. I used to be so kind of harsh on myself and just really, I think I realized one day I was just like, I would never talk to anyone like I talk to myself, and I was like, wow, that was a big realization, and then that helped to really make change with things. But yeah, I really like that being your own friend more.
Yeah, often the best friend you can have or the worst enemy is just yourself, so it's also kind of a decision.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the power of choice and realizing that we have a choice in how we think, and that if we don't like what's happening within our minds, then we actually can empower ourselves to go a different path. And I think like not a lot of people maybe realize that we do have a choice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's quite an important thing to realize.
Sure. So I'd like to ask next about the Cancer Capricorn axis.
Mm.
We had a Capricorn full moon a couple of weeks ago now, I think it was, and felt it was quite strong actually. And yeah, again, we're kind of in this tension of the opposites place, and
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, what are your thoughts on the Cancerian Capricorn axis, please, Nina?
That's really interesting question. The Capricorn. So, you know, my mother is a Capricorn, and so it's quite an important relationship for a Cancer. It's like it is often said, don't talk if your partner is a Cancer, never talk bad about her mother or his mother. Quite important thing because that's a very deep connection to the mother archetype, and to protect your close ones. Yeah, maybe that's the thing. But yeah, my mom, she's a Capricorn with a Cancer ascendant, and she, at the time, in my childhood, she was an active architect, and she also was interested in astrology. So she was like having fun with me, and coming to me and giving me a paper and asking me, what would be your perfect house? What would be your perfect home? How would it look like? It was our time. We had fun, and we were playing, and she was showing me how to design like a room, where to put doors, like put me in the space and territory, you know, to think more earthly. And I was like fully in the creative mode. What would be my dream space? So that's very, for me, an interesting example of relationship between a Cancer and Capricorn. It's like I see that they're even though they are totally in the axis, so like the signs are quite opposite in many ways, but there are a few things that are common. For example, the kind of going into stability of things, like aiming toward it, but like, as we said, like Cancers tend to be very emotional and very warm-hearted and friendly and so on. But on the other side, Capricorns can be like pretty cold and into work and into structure and rules. So I think there is a need between those two signs to balance between like home, family, and the career. Yeah, the career and work. So I think it's the ultimate dilemma of Cancers to balance those, and Capricorns to balance those two sides of life. So that was really good for our relationship with my mom.
That's a really lovely story. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, it's really nice. It's funny because like you're in a space of like creativity, and your mum's just like, okay, we need to work at
Structure.
creating the right structure. It's so funny. I'm always really fascinated by the oppositions because they are supposedly opposing, but they all
Supposedly what?
supposedly completely different to each other.
Yeah.
They do also share so many common themes as well. So I know Capricorn and Cancer are cardinal signs, so the initiators. So I can kind of see how Capricorn can kind of be like the initiator of work kind of thing. But like, how could you describe Cancer as an initiator? what are they the initiators of?
Initiator family. Yeah, like I feel like when the cancers are having some, like they can be quite good at defending like some cases and some causes, if they have like if the thing touches them personally.
Mm.
For example, saving the some animals or something that that just really touches them.
Mm.
Yeah, and yeah.
Mm. Cool. And I understand this. It's like the kind of like the mother and father axis as well. Is it? And kind of like
And Saturnian and Moon, so emotions and the structure. So it's quite like a I sense it like also like because the Cancer is totally opposite, the opposite side. So there is some kind of like rebellious kind side of Cancer. There could be, because of the all those rules and structures. It's like not really. I want it. Cancers wants the thing going their way.
I can feel that. I can feel that. Yeah, I love Cancerian energy. All of the Cancerians in my life, I'm just like, you just want to give them a hug, like.
But there is also a thing I can perceive in cancers, that this emotional sensitivity is like it's kind of also a strength of cancers, in a way that that's quite a big thing to like impact the surrounding with, and it's quite a big strength, but that on the other side can make them manipulative. So it's that would be the shadow of it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Good to be aware of it.
So, sorry.
Good to be aware of it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of looking at the shadow, because it's just like if you can see the shadows, then they're not going to sneak up on you, and yeah, create some situation for you. Yeah. This is an axis I'm actually going to commit to learning a lot more about, because I've got this. I've got four in Capricorn and two in Cancer, two planets in Cancer, and this axis, how I kind of feel it is that it creates a lot of internal tension, actually, because there are these two poles to bounce between. There's the like deep desire to focus on career, whilst at the same time the desire to completely pull back from that at the same time, and it's kind of like this, like, backwards and forwards. So there's things for me to integrate there, for sure.
Constant dilemma.
Constant dilemma. Absolutely. So we've spoken a little bit about this already, like with Cancer being like the very nurturing sign linked to the mother archetype. So the question is like, and you kind of already answered this a little bit, but how do you feel we can be kinder to ourselves and others?
Kinder. For sure, watching your words, your body language, your how you act in front of others and in front of yourself. For sure, you observing your inner talk, taking care for your emotions. That's also quite a thing to take care of, and also watching what you receive from the surrounding. That's also it's good to be looked for. If you take care for yourself, like holistically speaking, then it's much easier to be a kind person for others, and to cultivate patience and cherish. I think it's very important to cherish good things in life. Appreciate what we have already, not to tend to be too picky or too capricious, to appreciate what there already is. yeah, there is always something good that you can find in your life, even if it's really dark and without and light in the tunnel. Sometimes it just seems so. It's just sometimes just like a wave, and it's good to be like to watch, observe yourself, so you can be better to other people. Don't harm anyone.
Yeah, nice. I really like that, and I picked up something that you said about looking after yourself as well holistically, so you can be in a good place to look after others. And my observation with working with a lot of clients who are like mothers, there's this caregiver archetype, and one of the shadows of the caregiver archetype maybe could also stem to the Cancerian archetype is putting others before yourself, and then getting into a place whereby which isn't sustainable, because you know if we're always putting others before ourselves and leaving no time for ourselves, then you know we end up run down, burnt out, maybe even resentful, and like lots of like difficult negative feelings come up. um so yeah, and I know from working with many mothers as clients that this is the situation for many mothers. So yeah, like kind of like the importance of putting yourself first so that you're a better place to help others, because if you don't, you can't help anyone, right?
Like really becoming, yeah, a good friend for yourself. When you really like yourself, you really like take care for what's inside of you, then you can truly be a good person for others, not to pretend.
Sure. Cool. So coming to the end, we've got a penultimate question. So how can we work with the Cancerian archetype to bring benefit to our lives? So how can we maybe like harness that archetype?
Mm. Hmm. Yeah, wash your dishes. Feed your plants. Take care of your fridge. Throw away old food. Yeah, clean your bed, toilet. That can help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like the Capricorn Cancer axis there.
Yeah. What more? I wonder. Yeah. We talked a lot about things, I guess, that can be included in that question. Yeah, but yeah, it's like go observe the waves, but in the same time go with the flow, not um, stuck, get stuck in one place. Even though the Cancer really likes to stay home, still it's good to find your home inside of you and not to stay in one place. Also, it's really great to travel and see the home in many places in the world. Whenever you go, seeing close people and feeling like home anywhere you go.
I really like that. That is such a good quote. Observe the waves, but go with the flow. I'm gonna maybe borrow that one if that's okay with
Oh god, yeah, of course.
you. Dziękuję.
Dziękuję.
So okay, so cool. Coming to the last question. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Nina. It's been really lovely to talk. And my last question is: so Phoenix Vision is dedicated to creating a transformative vision of health for its listeners. So my question is: what does transformation mean to you, and what would you like to transform in the future?
As a cancer or generally?
Either generally or as a Cancerian.
Transform. Yeah, I think it's great if we just reflect. That's a good thing to start, without judgments, and reflect on. I think the change starts inside. If you really change inside, then you can give a good benefit to the surrounding and to the society. Yeah, and like like peace starts inside, so then it can be spread to the family, to the neighbors, and from the neighbors to the surrounding suburb or city, and then creating peaceful oriented projects for humanity, inspiring things. Yeah, opening your mind towards new ideas, not just closing inside of the box of a country, borders of patterns. Yeah, definitely a lot helps toward transformation to study life, to study many different, to not close on the just one specialization in life, and that's it. It's to be more open-minded with learning things, to being and also to respect traditions. Yeah, just going toward a big family of Earth.
Yeah. We're one global community, one global humanity of all of us working together. It's beautiful. Thank you so much, Nina. Thank you so much. Can if the listeners are interested in looking at any of your crafts, do you have anywhere that they can go to see them at all?
Yeah. For example, there is an Instagram, Nina Dąbrowska, and there is, I have a website, but it's like recently in the building, but still in a week or so it can be watched. I can write it somewhere, but it's called Jungle Morpho. There I share my crafts, and also crafts that I'm bringing from Guatemala when I travel. And yeah, I think then there is also sometimes also sharing my crafts on website where we are sharing the medicine of cacao. It is called graciascacao.com, and there I also sometimes make things, earrings or crafts that are connected to cacao. That's also something that I am really into.
Hey, amazing. So, hey, if you can send me through all of the links, what I'll do is I'll pop them in the show notes, and anyone who's interested can have a look. And I actually bought, I think it was one of your crafts from the Mayan trip, actually, for my mum. It was like this really beautiful big blue necklace with a hummingbird in the middle of it, like a hummingbird medallion. And it just caught my eye as just absolute work of art. So yeah, I got that from my mum. She really loves it. So thank you for that. Anyone
Amazing.
highly recommend Nina's crafts. They are magic.
Thank you very much.
So Nina, thank you so much for your time this evening talking about this beautiful archetype. I really appreciate it, and yeah, it was fun to catch up as well. Yeah, look forward to seeing you guys next, maybe in August, maybe. So,
Yeah.
so Nina, so much love. Dziękuję, gracias, Maltiosh.
Thank you. Dziękuję. Giving thanks to the stars for bringing us here together. And yeah, in the awareness of a vast cosmic space all around us, and the big movements constantly moving. So giving thanks for life.
Viva la vida. Thank you.
Thank you very much.